This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome in to the Triple Option. I'm Paul Catalina. It is Thursday. That's why you see a different camera angle here. You know, you get to see this in all of its glory. So, welcome to Jabba's Palace. All I'm missing is a little, like, rat thing and Princess Leia. And that's what's going to happen here. But Pierre Nugent from Fox 9 in Minneapolis joins us today. And Pierre, you will not be able to contain yourself waiting for the third segment, which is Pick'em.
Oh, man.
Guess who's winning Pick'em?
It can't be. There's no way it can be me.
It's you.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I should have gone to Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're
I'm stunned by that.
Yeah.
Stunned.
Yeah. You have a whopping 1-game lead over the rest of it. Well, you have a 3-game lead over Garrett, who was 0 for 5 and will be, when we get it from Amazon, wearing a T-shirt that says "Roll Tide, y'all." That is one size too small for him.
Oh, that's I can feel the pain all the way here in Minnesota. I really can. That's got to be just a god awful feeling to have to wear that T-shirt.
It's brutal. Like, I need an Aaron Tippin cassette tape to go with it.
Kids, by the way, a cassette tape was a fun little rectangular device where we used to listen to music back in the early to mid 90s.
Yeah. It was wild. And then, like, one time you think, like, oh, I'm going to listen to my favorite song. And then it was just done because the tape unspooled and got caught up in your cassette player. And then everything was ruined. So,
yeah, correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Absolutely. All right, Pierre. So last week you had to cover the defensive slugfest that was Nebraska and Minnesota. And one of the games we'll be talking about is Nebraska and Colorado here in the first segment. Nebraska has to take on Deion Sanders and that high-flying offense. You got to see them up close and personal. Defensively, they shut Minnesota down. Absolutely stonewalled them. Minnesota's offense obviously going to be different than Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter and all of that. But offensively, they looked exactly the same as Minnesota.
Yeah, it was. Listen, that was a really hard football game to watch. It was not for the faint of heart, with the exception of in the second quarter. No, third. Was it second or third quarter? I wanted to forget about that game so bad. I just kind of put it deep into the catacombs of my brain. I believe it was third quarter. The only exciting play of the game, well, I should say the only exciting one, was when Sims that double lateral that got botched and then somehow turned into a touchdown. And we're looking at each other in the press box like, what is happening in this game? But Nebraska, their offense, they outgained Minnesota offensively. But the turnovers absolutely killed them. 4 turnovers on the day. And Minnesota has 2 NFL caliber players in their secondary in Tyler Nubin and Justin Wally. And both of those guys came up huge for Minnesota. So it was not the game I was expecting. I thought it would be a little more like a 24-20 or a 24-17. Matt Rule's offense, we've seen him coach, the type of offense that is a free-flowing, up and down the field kind of offense. That was not the case with what we saw. It might be just the early opening week jitters or kinks you have to work out, but boy, was that an ugly football game. No. It was terrible.
And the thing is, we'll lead off with Deion. I'm not going to build up to Deion, but your thoughts on Deion week 1. You're a fiery opinionist when it comes to NFL history, and I know that you're a Dolphins fan, so really you're probably apoplectic on Deion's playing career because he never really affected your team at all in the 90s.
No, but my first memory of Deion actually was the year he came over to the 49ers after he left the Falcons, because I was living in Northern California, so I would watch a lot of 49ers games. That was 94, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Deion comes over to the Niners, and to much fanfare, the Niners go on to win the Super Bowl that year, and he was an instrumental part of that team. And I remember the game with him going back to Atlanta and trading fists with Andre Rison and the high step. You want to talk about, you go out on the play, you probably did the same thing. You're out at recess, you're playing football, you're playing basketball, you're playing soccer. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing. If you did something you felt was electric, you are high stepping it down the field, and that kind of swag it's never left him. It's still there with him to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. So he and Matt Rule, to me, is the best year one at their school coaching matchup that you could possibly imagine for a bunch of different reasons. But I do wonder, and Matt Rule, he has a ton of transfers. He doesn't have 80, but how fast Deion was able to do this compared to a guy who has, skins on the wall at Matt Rule, and Deion has Jackson State, but he is Deion, and it shows you the absolute power of celebrity. That Deion can get everybody talking about him right away, and Matt Rule still has more of a classic build to do.
I am sure Matt probably likes it that way. I mean, I'm sure he's like, that's fine. You can have all the attention on Colorado that you want. I'm just going to put my nose to the ground and build this program, back to prominence the way we remember it back in the 90s and early 2000s. But I was just thinking about this week. When is the last time anyone ever talked about Colorado football the way it is? I mean, Cordell Stewart was the last thing that I can really remember about CSU football. It's been a long time, and I was stunned by the result on Saturday. Like, I'm sure a lot of people were. I mean, maybe they wouldn't use the word stunned, but I was truly stunned by what I saw in the fact that they walk into Fort Worth and just win the game in the manner that they did. And now you have everybody believing. Now you're a believer, because I think the preseason, the odds makers had Colorado as the lowest win total of all the Division I schools. If I'm not mistaken, it was really, really low. I think it was 3 or maybe even below 3.
I think
like a 2.7.
I think I saw a lot of 3.5 over-unders from Vegas. Yeah.
So now it's one thing to get hyped up in practice, as you know, and buy into your coach and let it play out. But when you get an immediate, reaction and an immediate gratification the way that they did at TCU, now you're really a believer. And now you have a dangerous team on your hands, because now they really believe. And people thought maybe it might be a little bit of a pomp and circumstance for the first 6 weeks, and maybe he crashes and burns, but eventually gets it there maybe next year or the year after. It's now. It's happening now. It's immediate. And it's, if I'm a Colorado fan, I'm riding this wave as long as I can.
I had their ceiling at 6-6 because their schedule's really tough. Nebraska's going to be – that's a tough game no matter what you say. Like, it's an old-school rivalry game. And Nebraska the fans are going to show up there that have their allotment, and they're going to try to make it like it was back in the old Big 8 days when those two schools hated each other's guts. And they still don't like each other that much. It's Colorado's probably biggest rival of all time, and ended when they swapped conferences. It was – I don't know if it's Nebraska's Oklahoma's. I mean, that's all been ruined by realignment. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, they have USC and Oregon coming up here in a couple of weeks. They have – they've got the Pac-12's tough. The Pac-12 is going to be really tough. But if you told me that they were 8-4, like maybe even at like a sneaky 9-3, I'd buy it. Their defense isn't much to write home about, but their offense can clearly score, and they've got Travis Hunter, who's amazing. So those things are going to do well for them. Elsewhere. Here, big game in the state of Texas. Two big games in the state of Texas. One of them, A&M versus Miami, a game where both teams were total, absolute garbage last year. The only difference was Miami was a little bit hotter garbage than A&M, because A&M kicked their ass in Kyle Field, just really stuck it to them, and in a very boring offense, but the story with A&M is they brought in Bobby Petrino. He's the offensive coordinator now. He's calling plays. Jimbo's not micromanaging. supposedly. And then Miami, year 2, they're trying to do what Nebraska and Colorado are doing, is bring the 90s back to life. And that one's really interesting to me, even though like both these teams are not what I call contenders, but this is a big time, let's see where you are game.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. And I want to take a quick second because I know that, it breaks your heart to see Miami struggle. I know you just lay awake. You just lay awake at night, just crying your eyes at Miami just struggling the way it has.
Pierre, FSU beat them so badly last year. My wife, Amanda, and I was watching the game with her, and my friends are calling, and like I'm getting on, FaceTimes with people and everything. And I was talking to one of my college roommates, and honestly, like in the middle of it, FSU like sacked the third string quarterback and it was the most comical looking play, and then you saw the Miami fans leaving, and we just laughed for like 3 straight minutes. And then she's like, "You guys aren't even talking to each other." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I mean, that was hilarious. Like that moment right there was funnier than the tiger scene in The Hangover to me."
I mean, I know it definitely didn't break your heart. I mean, it's so funny to talk about this. We just talked about Nebraska and Miami. Now, the older I get, the more I keep thinking how far we've really distanced ourselves from just the power. It didn't feel like it was that long ago that Miami and Nebraska were playing in the title game. And it's mind blowing to me how I don't know I think Nebraska has fallen farther than Miami in my opinion, but I mean, boy, I think you're right. It's a little bit of a measuring stick game for both teams. Miami, even though they're not what Miami used to be, I mean, they're not New Mexico State, and I know Texas A&M knows that going on the road, and it's going to be a different story from what they saw in the season opener. But I think Miami. I know you're going to hate hearing me say this, but I mean, growing up, that was the team with the swag. I mean, we've seen the 30 for 30. That was the team with the 30 for 30s. They had swag. They were a power. They were fun to watch. And I looked at them and like, what happened to you guys? What happened to the Canes? What happened to this? It doesn't feel like it's got the same cachet.
You know how I feel about it? And this is weird. A lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but genuinely, I will trade it because when I was growing up and then when I was in college at FSU, Florida State and Miami Florida State played both of them. Miami and Florida never played each other really. They will do like a home and home once a decade. But the Florida State Miami game and the Florida State game swung the national title. Like who was going to play for the national title. And now, like Florida State, after the other night appears to be back on the scene while the other two are still rebuilding. But I would trade like them being good again if we could all be good. And, like as fans, the way, especially with Miami, Florida a little bit different, but especially with Miami, I will liken it to the Wes Mantooth and Ron Burgundy relationship. Like right at the end where he's like, deep down with every inch of me, I straight up hate you, but damn it, I respect you. And like, that's what I want, and so I would like to see that because it's better for football to me if you have more teams that are consistently good, especially with big brands, than, hey, remember when Miami was good and Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake were dating? That was the same year. Like those are the things that you have to like think about. And I would just rather it be back to where Miami, Nebraska, Florida State, like everybody's good. Like Florida's good. It sucks for me to say that, but like it was better than watching two, 5 and 7 teams in a pillow fight.
It's not as fun. It's not as satisfying. It's like you want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock go head-to-head at their peak in front of a sold-out crowd with so much on the line. It's that kind of heat and intensity that you want, because even though you're going to enjoy beating them, even if they're 5 and 7, but it's just if they're 9-0 and you guys are 9, I mean, you wouldn't meet like that late in the season, I know, but like for the sake of argument,
it's happened, yeah.
That's what you want, and that's what makes it great, and that's what makes the rivalry great. You want it to be that way.
Hey, there's nothing like the old school day. Florida and Florida State played the last game of the regular season for both of them, So there's nothing like 10-1 versus 11-0 that might swing the whole thing, or 11-0, 11-0. Like those things late in the year, the SEC gets them all the time now. But, like those things late in the year are really great. I'd love to see them come back. And for Miami in particular, it just doesn't seem right that, they lost to Middle Tennessee State last year.
I know.
They lost to Middle Tennessee State, and it wasn't like a fluke. Middle Tennessee State was better. And on that day, it wasn't one of those things where it was raining really hard and the backup quarterback was in and there was a really questionable call and they got a late freaky touchdown on a punt return or something. No, it was just they got pummeled. So I'd like to see that come back a little bit.
Same. I think all college football fans would like to see it because it's better. It's one of those things. I mean, growing up, because I would watch the NBA religiously, and I still do to a certain degree. But growing up, you hear the league is better when the Knicks are good, which I don't agree with at all. Who cares? Who cares about the Knicks? But at the same time, it's one of those things when the traditional powers like Miami, Nebraska, some of these old school powers that we grew up watching, Florida State when they were in their heyday as well. College football is better when these teams. Tennessee was another team growing up that was a power. It's better when those programs are good, in my opinion. Some people might disagree, but in my opinion, when those traditional programs are good, it makes college football better, and that's what I want to see. We haven't really had that the last decade.
Yeah, and look, I kind of agree. I don't care about, again, the Knicks. That doesn't matter, but at least don't, have their owner spending more time with his garage band. Those kind of things. But have some dignity, for God's sakes. That's how I feel about that one. All right, Oregon and Texas Tech. Joey McGuire was here at Baylor. I know him really well. They took a huge upset, Tech, last week, losing on the road at Wyoming. In my opinion, trap game in week one, where they might have not really know what they were getting into with Wyoming and, lost a little bit of focus, especially in the second half of that game. And then here comes Oregon. They won 81-7 over Portland State. They should probably get an assault charge. I mean, wipe it off their record, but just throw it up there. Hey, we saw what you did. That was bad. Portland State probably got $1 million to come in and get humiliated like that. So that was maybe even more. Who knows? But Oregon and Texas Tech in Lubbock, I think it's going to be fascinating because, Pierre, I don't when you were here, Baylor and Tech were playing at AT&T Stadium. So we never got to go out to AT&T Jones AT&T Stadium and whatever they call it in whatever order. I'm sorry, but the tortilla tossing group of drunken psychopaths, and I say that with love and respect.
Correct.
Keep being you, Texas Tech. But that is going to be a crazy atmosphere, and Tech's a little bit on the ropes because they had a lot of hype coming in.
Yeah, they really did, and I feel when you look at last week's game, double overtime in Wyoming, it's just, oh man, I think you said it perfectly. It was a little bit of a trap game in week one. Now maybe it's a wake-up call. No, maybe it's a little bit of a wake-up call and Oregon comes in and who knows, maybe Texas Tech is on their A game. It's a little hard for me to see it right now. I think, if I'm a betting man, which, I might be from time to time, but it's hard not to like Oregon in this game, but would I bet on this game? Absolutely not. No way would I, because I think the crowd is going to be awfully fired up. And you're playing a little bit desperate. Now, after week one, you're already a little bit desperate. You don't want to fall to 0-2. That would just be a disastrous start for Tech. But it's hard for me. And again, I know we just talked about this with Texas A&M. Portland State is not Texas Tech.
No.
So how much do I really take away from that game with Oregon? Not a ton. I knew that they would be good going into the season, but it doesn't, just clobbering Portland State in the manner that they did is not going to do anything for me. It's not going to change my opinion of them thinking, oh yeah, maybe this is a national title contender. No. So I think Texas Tech obviously has more to lose here, but it's hard for me to I'm not gambling on this game. Please, if anybody's watching, just don't gamble in general. But it's hard for me to pick Texas Tech in this game, but would it surprise me if they win? No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. All right, and on Oregon side, I'll tell you, I've become a huge Bo Nix guy. I really like watching Bo Nix play. When he was at Auburn, you could see he had these like little strands of this, he had a bit of it seemed to be like a hero complex where it's almost like he would like shake out the cobwebs in the fourth quarter, be like, what, we're down by 10? All right, 7 minutes left? I got this. I'm going to go, don't call plays. I don't call plays. That's only going to mess me up if you call a play. I'm just going to go out there and make something happen. But now, when you see what happened last year under Kenny Dillingham, and obviously he's on to Arizona State, Bo Nix is a legit quarterback now, and he's using his powers for good, so to speak. And he is just fun to watch. So him against Texas Tech is going to be one of the best things to see all weekend, in my opinion.
No doubt. I think that's definitely a game I have circled. I mean, to be honest, when I was looking at the slate, Texas A&M and Miami was definitely the game that I feel like has the most intrigue for me personally. I want to see how it all plays out. But Oregon and Texas Tech is right there for sure.
Yeah, well, and of course the biggest game of the week is Texas versus Bama, which this is a non-conference game for the last time this year. And Texas had that game in their sights last year. Quinn Ewers got hurt. Bryce Young said, okay, I'm going to go beat Bryce Young, and brought Bama back, and they won the game. It was very close. But I do think that kind of popped Texas's balloon a little bit, because I think that even though they were good last year, they weren't great, but they were good last year and much better. They put a lot of eggs in that basket of like, okay, if we can win this one, then our confidence is going to be buoyed. And so then they had the game where right after they lost to Texas Tech in overtime. They lost to Kansas State. They lost to they lose to Kansas State. Yeah, and then they lost to TCU, and they got really kind of beat up at home against TCU in a game that was close, but they were not in it against TCU. And this year, I think that if Texas can go to Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium, which is a very tough place to play. I've been there, and it is one of those things where the fans are on them so fast. And then the game I was at was at a blowout. So it wasn't 4 hours of just like, oh my God, these people are psychos. It was like an hour and a half of that, and A&M got beat so bad. It was like, okay, well, what are we doing after this kind of a thing? You guys got plans? But the way that will be is going to be interesting to see, because Texas is about to be in this atmosphere all the time now, and Bama's trying to prove that this is not a restart year for them, that they're still Bama. So, this one, obviously the game of the week, and the two biggest brands you could possibly have playing at this point in the season, maybe ever.
I know a lot of Texas fans are excited about their team this year, and I think with good reason. But, I mean, am I the only one in the pit of my stomach that feels that Alabama's going to win this game by 2 touchdowns? Maybe, I don't know. I could be wrong. I remember the game last year. What was it? A 2-point game? It was like 22-20.
Yeah, it was close. It came down to a field goal. Yeah.
Texas, I think really missed an opportunity. If I'm remembering the game correctly, I think they missed a field goal before halftime, and I think missed maybe more than one field goal in that game. But they really missed an opportunity. They had Alabama right where they wanted them and blew it last year. So now that you have to go to Alabama, this is kind of, it goes back to like what we were talking about earlier when you want to see Florida State and Miami good at the same time. I want to see a game that ends up being 33-30 or 31-28 or 27. I want to see that game. I want to believe that that's the game I'm going to see, but I don't feel fully confident. And I don't like to reference stuff from the year previously, because football is such a year-to-year sport. Whatever happened in the year previously has no bearing on what's going to happen this Saturday. But how many times do I have to watch Texas have an opportunity in its hands and blow it? And how many times do I have to hear about Texas being back and Texas is going to be all the rise, just to see them kind of level out and really kind of just twist away in the wind and not really make an impact in college football like we saw 20 years ago? I'm not as jazzed about this game, maybe as some other people, because I just don't believe it. I just don't believe that Texas is going to walk in there and keep things competitive. I just don't believe it.
Well, look, Pierre, you were here long enough. You understand how the Cowboy fandom works. A&M and Texas fans are in that same Venn diagram. They overlap quite a bit, and it is not lost on me that the hype compared to the results is often the same, for
Yeah.
all of them.
Yes.
And again, like football is so vaulted here, and you get so much propaganda about all of them that eventually you start going, oh, well, yeah, no, like this is it. And then I have a friend, and this is just covering the Cowboys, that I have to every year be like, listen, I know that you're excited. And I'm going to tell you, I think they're going to be good. But I do not want you, like, getting all fan bloggy on me because you said, like, oh, why did they cut Will Greer? Like, look, Will Greer had a great last preseason game. Like, don't get excited. It's the same with Texas fans. We'll be like, well, why isn't Arch Manning playing? Well, he's a freshman who played in, like, 3A football in Louisiana. Like, let the kid develop. Like, he's not, like, Arch Manning's not going on social media and being like, look, if I don't play, I'm going to transfer. Like, let it happen.
Right.
That, like, they'll say that if Quinn Ewers struggles a bit. And right now they all love Quinn Ewers. But if he struggles a bit, it's going to be a problem for them. So, and you'll have the whole thing starting over again. All right, we got to get to break. When we come back, this week in Coach Speak, something I know. Pierre is a huge fan of Coach Speak. I
love it.
walked out of many press conferences with Pierre as he was packing up his camera and muttering under his breath of, that was nothing. That was nothing. I'm going to let Pierre go on a Pierre rant here in a second. This is the Triple Option.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
Welcome back. This is the Triple Option. Paul Catalina, Pierre Nugent. And Pierre, you're there, Fox 9 Minneapolis, by the way. Didn't give a plug for your actual employer. But you and I kind of grew up in this business a little bit together in our younger years. Now that we're, I'm middle-aged. I don't know about how you feel, but I'm.
Yeah, I have entered middle age now.
I'm 43. There's no there's no sugarcoating it anymore. That's it. Like, when people tell you like, oh, you're not, I'm like, yes, I am. 43.
Yeah.
Like,
I have to accept this. I wake up every day looking in the mirror and say, God, you look terrible today.
Yeah,
what happened to you?
We're at the age where television shows made about us are either sitcoms like Everybody Loves Raymond or shows like Parenthood, where like, that one, I'll take that one. But like, when you look around the shows, like when you ask like people like what they like, I'm like, oh, I like This Is Us. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Where's Paul and what did you do with him?
Yeah. But I mean, like they say that I don't watch this, but like you look at that and you're like, oh, these shows are about people. Like these are life issues people I know are having as opposed to like, when you're younger and, salad days, I guess. But this week in Coach Speak, Jack, do you have the tweet? Dabo Swinney, who just came off of what I believe is the worst defeat of his career, because Duke absolutely housed them. I mean, physically, it was close for most of the game, but Duke out-physical Clemson, which never happens. Duke had more playmakers than Clemson, which should not happen. Duke out-coached Clemson, which has never happened. Mike Elko was all there, and Dabo Swinney said this. He loved what he saw from the offense outside of a few mistakes. If we do what we did offensively for the rest of the year, we won't lose another game. It's just that simple. They scored 7 points, Pierre. They scored 7 points. That is Coach Speak to its highest level here on This Week in Coach Speak.
No doubt.
I mean, all right, I'm gonna just step back and let you kind of opine on what you just heard from a coach who just got it handed to him.
Listen, I will admit I did not get a chance to watch that game. However, I did watch the highlights of the game, and I read up on what happened. And the first thing that stood out to me was, boy, did Clemson really shoot themselves in the foot with turnovers. Just killed themselves with turnovers. But, I mean, the one thing that has progressively made me more and more upset in this business, whether it's a coach, whether it's a player, whether it's a team official, whether it's in communications or at the top, that constantly on a daily basis try to get me to believe that my eyes are not seeing what I'm seeing. That constantly say to me like, oh, no, it's not like this. That try to put a positive spin, that really try to confuse me and make me believe I didn't just see what I just saw. And what I did see, even though, like I admit, I didn't see the full game from Clemson, but what I did see and what I can surmise is, like you just said, a team that got absolutely dominated. Now, they did shoot themselves in the foot with turnovers again. That'll do it to you, obviously. But you go into Duke, and I don't even remember how much they were favored by still going into Duke. And you're still Clemson with the weapons that you have and Dabo Swinney at the helm. It's still Clemson. You got punched in the mouth, did you not? And if you say, you sit there and say, I mean, we're going to be like, you got punched in the mouth. And it should be a wake-up call to you. So don't sit here and tell me that, if we just make a correction here, that no, you got to take a look in the mirror real quick. It's not as dire as like Texas Tech, because, Texas Tech is not on that level that Clemson has been over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But this is a wake-up call right now for Clemson. And, you better get it right. You better get it right in a hurry.
Look, the end comes for everybody's run of dominance. Like, it's going to come for Alabama. Like, it might have already done. Like, Georgia's now the team in the SEC. In the ACC, it came for Florida State. Florida State was in control of the ACC a long time. Dabo flipped the script, and now they've been kind of in control. And now, because of decisions he's making, for example, not taking guys out of the transfer portal, and and we talked about this both shows I did yesterday at length. And look, if you don't like the transfer portal as much, that's fine. If you like NIL, that's fine. If you want to try to do it another way, but everybody else around you is doing it. So you are, because you're trying to die on a hill, putting yourself at a disadvantage. And it's just numbers to me. Like, NIL is weird kind of everywhere, and it's hard to even get a gauge on it because I don't even know what to believe when you hear it, because it's not like you hear that, Karl Anthony Towns got a shoe deal and you know how much it is, right? You're hearing all these other things that are kind of speculative, and then you can't even really say. Like, it's somehow taboo to say it. And you're like, well, what's taboo? It's legal. Like, just say what the guy's getting. It's legal. And
you said it. Like, I mean, there's no principle of the matter here anymore. Like, I mean, like you said, the door is open. Everybody else is doing it. It's not one of those things like, well, everybody else is doing it. You heard when your mom and dad growing up, you're like, well, if everybody else is doing it, you might as well just jump off a cliff then if they did it. Like, wouldn't you? It's not that. The green light is there for everybody. So the fact that you're not taking advantage of it, that's on you. And that's a problem. And it's going to be a problem if you don't kind of get with the times that we're in college football.
Well, eventually you're just going to, you're going to try to start recruiting people who are yes men and just agree with you. Like, you want to earn your money, right, son? You want to do this, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to you don't come in for the transfer portal. You want to be at the same place the whole time. Well, look, I'll just tell you math. He's lost 32 transfers in 3 years, which is not many. That's good. I mean, that's an average of about 11 a year, right? But he's brought in nobody else, and he's just done that on high school players, and they recruit really well. But you're also now, the people you're playing are bringing in guys who can play a little bit quicker and are already, a couple years older. And Dabo should know this because he's been doing this his entire professional life, that the difference between you when you're 18 and when you're 21 or 22 after 3 years of eating right and being in a college weight program is a lot different than coming out of whatever high school you do, which may or may not have a good weight program. You may or may not be in a place where it has, that has good advantages like that. I'll just compare it to here in Texas. Sometimes guys from Texas hit their peak a little bit quicker because they are, at schools like Midway that I covered here for a long time. They have an indoor practice facility, weight room that would rival anybody. You've seen them. And then they could come out of a school, like in another powerhouse state, like in Georgia, they could come out of like a little town that has, 5 benches and 5 squat racks and, 10 sets of dumbbells that aren't all matching, so... and he eats, and that kid eats Lucky Charms every day because that's all he can get. And the kid in Texas is getting protein shakes, and the school lunch program is good. So he's going to hit his peak at a different time, than the kid that's the freshman from Texas. And Dabo going like, well, I'll take my chances with true freshmen. I mean, a lot of coaches have learned that lesson the hard way.
It sounds like It sounds like whether I don't know what kind of sports analogy you want to use in this situation, but it's one of those situations where like maybe you have a champion, whether it's in boxing or like tennis, that has done it one way for a long time and it's worked, but everybody else figured out a way to get better, and that champion has just stayed in one place, and now everybody's kind of passed them by or in the process of passing them by because they didn't expand their toolbox and they didn't like find a way to get better because the way they did it, their one way of doing it, worked for so long, and now they don't know what to do because everybody else has found a way around it or found a way to like put a little bit of chink in the armor, and they just don't know how to react or respond. That's kind of, it feels like that's the conversation that we're having with Dabo Swinney and Clemson right now. We may be overreacting to one game. There's probably a good chance that that's the situation, but that kind of feels like the conversation we're having with them right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be Mike Tyson losing to Buster Douglas because you weren't prepared, Right. You've got guys, we don't have any plastic bags. What do we have? Oh, we've got some condoms. Let's put some ice in there, and that's what we'll use. And maybe hopefully nobody will notice, like those. I'm
sure it'll work well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I bring that up because that's a very true story. Like people can, if you haven't heard that story about how Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas and the fact that he didn't have like a real trainer, he had like no cut man. They got there and like, hey, what do we put ice in? And they're like, well, you got some like bags, right? They're like, no, we don't have any. Like, what do you have?
I remember that fight. They weren't even taking wagers on that fight.
Yeah,
because it was such a foregone conclusion.
Yeah,
such a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, you don't want to be that. All right, when we come back, Pierre Nugent, master of college football pick'em.
Yes.
We at least for 1 week, we will make our picks. Yes, and I've even given us more time, Jack, to do this. So you're welcome, producer Jack. This is the triple option on 365 Sports.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected. Get involved. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears.
It's another time to speak with Samantha Duvall from TexasBeefHouse.com, handles the marketing and someone that you will talk to a lot when you do call for the great product of the Texas-raised Wagyu beef. It's college football season, tailgating, it's a big deal. People love to put beef and pork and chicken, etc. on the grill. Let me know what you have.
We've got everything. If you've got a morning game, you can get our breakfast sausage or our bacon. You can tailgate with some breakfast tacos. If you've got an afternoon or evening evening game. We, of course, got our hamburger patties. They're half-pound patties, 4 patties to a package. And we even have jalapeno and cheese patties. They're amazing. They'll blow your mind. Just that extra flavor, not too spicy. They have a high-heat cheese so they don't melt on the grill, and our patties don't shrink up on the grill either. Anytime you order, use our code SICK'EM10 to get 10% off your order of $100 or more.
Where is the best beef in Texas? Your house. When you order from Texas Beef House, unleash the flavor of Texas-raised Wagyu from our pasture to your plate. That's Samantha Duvall, TexasBeefHouse.com.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit Marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sick'EM365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Pierre Nugent, Fox 9, Minnesota, Minneapolis. I mean, it's the same place, but Minneapolis.
Same.
Is with us now, today. He's the Thursday guy. Pick him, and I said this. Pierre is our leader right now at 3-2. Jack, Levi, and I all 2-3, and Garrett at a woeful 0-5. I had to give y'all hope. Yeah, absolutely. So, okie dokie.
A true stunner, Paul.
It is
a true stunner.
Yeah. So the game swung for us. You picked Houston. We picked UTSA. You were smart. That was a very, very close game. And literally determined for UTSA by the closest 4th down stop or gain ever. And Jeff Traylor lost his mind. And he and Dana are out in the field. If people go back, if you want to go on YouTube and watch a funny thing, watch Dana Holgerson and Jeff Traylor at the end of that game, like going back and forth. It was wild. It was.
I think last week, I on this very show last week, I believe I said, I used the words, I was told follow your heart and you'll never go wrong. And that was my feeling on Florida State and LSU, because my head was saying LSU, my heart said Florida State, and looky here, I'm in first place, and my heart never led me wrong, did it, Paul?
No, it didn't. And again, I could have told you Florida State was going to win that game. Garrett will tell you I was supremely confident. I was strutting around all week. No, I was quite nervous, but I thought they might be some matchup things.
Yeah, that one bit me in the ass. I was like, I have to go opposite Pierre.
Yeah.
And it just
Hey, I don't blame the strategy whatsoever. We're trying to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give Garrett the first pick this week since he is 0-5, and he had to. He's going to have to wear his punishment was wearing a shirt of your rival, which he picked Alabama and not Florida. We gave him the opportunity to pick which rival he wanted to wear. He picked Bama. The shirt says Roll Tide, y'all. It is one size too small for him. I cannot wait to do it. But I guess we need to do this week's punishment so we know what we're playing against, so to speak. Okay. So I know you probably can't follow me off camera because I left the thing over here. All right. Here we go. All right. From our lovely 365 sports cap. All righty. All right. And Pierre, you might be having out on some of these just because it might not be possible for you to do them.
Understood, but I always try to make good on if I'm in debt here.
What we got?
One segment in a porta potty.
Ooh.
Oh,
wow.
No.
Yes. So the loser of this week's pick'em, we will set up on a Zoom link and send into one segment, 20 minutes long in a porta potty. Is what we're
I can't lose this week. I cannot lose this week.
So
Oh, my God.
The stakes got raised from tiny T-shirt of your rival to everyone else's waist.
Garrett got off easy.
Yep. Yeah.
Big time.
Now, look, if Garrett loses again, he's going to have to do this. But at least if this is the only punishment that Garrett has to do, that's good. We started small, and we've ramped it up. All right.
Things have taken a violent turn in week 2 here, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wanted real consequences.
All right, so this week, give me Colorado.
Give me Colorado? Okay. We'll get Garrett Colorado. Come on, there we go. Okay. Who else you got, Garrett?
Then give me Texas A&M.
You got Texas A&M against Miami. All right. Nope. Oop. My bad. There we go. Okay.
All right, give me Ole Miss.
Ole
Lane
Miss
Kiffin.
against Tulane.
Take it to the SIP.
Okay.
Oregon big, not even close.
Ooh. Lost all your faith in Texas Tech.
I did. The juice is gone.
Okay.
And Roll Damn Tide.
Oh, I think that's,
Oh, man.
that's kind of what his shirt is going to say. I think it says Roll Tide Y'all, which makes it seem like a soccer mom would wear that shirt too. Nice lady from Birmingham. Get the kids at soccer and go get some barbecue. Roll Tide Y'all.
Oh, God.
All right, let's see. Levi, since you are right there, you and the 2 and 3 crew, what do you got?
I'll go with Coach Prime and the Buffs.
Okay.
I was actually at the A&M Miami game last year, and that was an ass whooping, so I'll go with A&M again.
Okay.
I want to come back to that one because I want to be different from Garrett. I'll go Alabama at home.
Okay, you go Alabama at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have a friend that goes to Tulane, so let's go Tulane.
Okay, there we go.
And then
Come on.
That might just be a glitch in the app that I built. So
Okay.
we'll get that sorted. Levi has Tulane. We'll remember that.
Yeah, Levi has Tulane. It's on tape.
And then I'll go with Tech.
Okay.
I have more faith in them than I do Baylor versus Utah.
There we go. Okay, that one worked. All right.
That's not a good reason to pick Tech. That is a terrible reason to pick Tech.
But yeah, Levi is blazing new trail here. All right, Jack.
I'm going same as Garrett, straight down the board.
Okay.
I have no faith in Nebraska's offense to put up as much as Colorado. A&M just has more talent and somehow feels like they're moving forward more. Ole Miss should have more talent than Tulane. Oregon, I have no faith in Tech. I have no faith in Tyler Shuck. And Alabama at home just seems like the smart pick here.
Yeah. Okay, come on. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, so Pierre, you and I will go back and forth now. That the peanut gallery and hopefully eventual porta potty sitters will have.
I think we're going to need the tiebreaker this week.
Yeah, we're gonna need that. We're probably gonna need
unless Levi just.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this one more time, just for my own edification. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I've built the app wrong.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe Jack's gonna have to sit in a porta potty for a little bit longer.
Hell no.
Okay. So Nebraska and Colorado. I wanted this game, Pierre, to be more than I think it's gonna be. And look, I stand for Matt Rule. I do. Love the guy. This helmet right here, back here behind me, he sent to us. So I have a little bit of personal bias. Although, look, in spite of Deion Sanders' constant, I'm not a Knoll, Florida State's in my past kind of a thing. He and I are from the same hometown. He is a legend in Tallahassee, and we should build a statue of the guy, in my opinion. But I just don't think that Nebraska has the offensive weapons to hang with them. So I'm going Colorado.
I think unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit boring, but make it a clean sweep. It's hard not to like Colorado right now. I'm taking the Buffs.
All right. Let's go Miami and A&M in Miami at a place where they don't have great home crowds all the time, but this one I think will be a very good home crowd for them. I think they feel a little bit of buoy confidence, but, we'll see. So you pick first on this one.
I'll go first. Actually, I'm glad I'm picking first because I'm looking at the board and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe it's my turn to go out on a limb because I'm going to take Miami in this game. I'm going to take the Canes. A little bit of revenge from last year. I don't know if I think they'll probably remember that from last year. So I'm going with Miami.
All right, I'm going to take the Aggies in this one. And it's just because I think they've got more weapons right now. Noah, was it Noah Smith last week? Is that his name? Noah something. Noah, who I've forgotten his name, is going to make me seem like a terrible college football podcaster. 3 touchdowns last week. They already have Aniyah Smith. They already have Evan Stewart. Ruben Owens, their top-rated running back, hardly even played in that game, and they rolled. I think they've got a ton of weapons. I think Miami's not quite there yet. I think they will get there under Mario Cristobal, but I think he has a bigger rebuild on his hands than maybe even he realized. All right, Ole Miss and Tulane in New Orleans. I think Ole Miss is going to get all they want from the Green Wave, but I think they have a little bit too much talent. They're deep all over the place. I think Quinshawn Judkins has a huge game against Tulane, but I wouldn't put it past old Michael Pratt to throw a couple touchdown passes and make the Lane train a little nervous.
I can see this being a situation where Ole Miss just needs to weather the storm in the first quarter where that crowd is going to be hyped and Tulane's going to be hyped. And I think Ole Miss levels out and holds true. I'm going with Ole Miss as well.
All right. Clean sweep for the running Rebs at Ole Miss. Okay. Oregon and Texas Tech. Pierre, back to you. We've talked a lot about this one going back and forth. Levi picked Texas Tech. Are you bold enough to be like Levi?
I have never been bold enough to be like Levi in my entire life. I leave the boldness to Levi. I'm sticking with Oregon. We talked about it earlier in the show. They were going to get a good game, but I like Oregon.
Yeah, I agree. I think that last week showed me a little bit of, leaky parts of Tech. I think it's going to be a really good, interesting game. I think Tech's going to be fired up. Joe McGuire's especially to that. By the way, on Levi, Pierre, he went to Italy this summer.
Oh.
And he came back with a kind of renewed confidence and air about him. I don't know what it was.
Where in Italy?
He went to Amalfi Coast. Rome and Amalfi, and
You've been there. Great choices. Good choices from Levi.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we go. Okay.
They don't have any custard over there, though.
No. You mean gelato?
Like the lemon?
No, I know. They have gelato, but there's no custard. There's no Katie's frozen custard. So, no. I mean, it's like, America, still better.
Yeah. All right. Were you here when I was on that stupid Katie's commercial?
Well, I might have been. Were you on their commercial?
Yes, I was on their radio commercial. That was so good.
If I hear it again, I probably will remember it.
Yeah, I'm not giving them any free pub. I'm mad about that to this day. Here's the deal. I did a commercial for them that ran for like 4 years, and every time it ran, somebody sent me a text like quoting it to me. And then one time I went there after they have a high school all-star football game here. You know it. You covered it. It's in June. I was down on the sidelines. I'm sweating my ass off, and I went there and I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And he charged me full price. And I was really mad about that.
Oh, man.
Like, look, dude, I'm on your commercial. Like,
but he knew who you were, though, right?
Yeah, he knew. Yeah, he was there, directing me the whole time. Yeah. Look, when Michael Jordan walks into Nike, they don't charge him for the sneakers. All right?
No.
And yes, look at this. This is the Michael Jordan of ice cream right here. All right?
Oh, man.
By the way, I'm going with Oregon.
Oh, my God.
I'm going with Oregon. All right. Bama.
Winding road.
Yeah. Bama and Texas. Let's see.
Is anyone going to go with Texas?
Look, and
how I feel about this.
I know how you feel about it, Pierre. And these things come down to the quarterbacks quite often. And I think Quinn Ewers is probably above Jalen Milroe. But Jalen Milroe is at home. Alabama scares me a little bit this year because everybody's ready for them to go away. And their quarterback battle went down to last week. So no, nobody's going with Texas, but I think this game is going to be so very close. And if it does get to 2 scores, it's going to be one of those things at the end where Texas is down by a score and fumbles the ball that turns into a pick, or a touchdown right at the end. So I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be really good, but I've not been to Italy. I don't have that Amalfi Coast, confidence like Levi does.
One day, my friend.
I'm not telling chicks ciao bella and stuff like that. I'm not doing that. So, yeah, I think we'll have to stay with there. And I think you've made your position pretty clear here.
Yeah, listen, and I said it on this show last week. The hatred that I have for Nick Saban burns heavily in my heart. So it gives me no pleasure whatsoever to pick them to win. But I just, I just don't see a way Texas wins this game.
All right. Well, look, there is a chance we have to use the tiebreaker this week because Jack and Garrett and I are the same across the board. Or there's a chance that Pierre or Levi are doing a segment from.
Nope, because Levi has Tulane and the app didn't work.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
It won't work, Paul. It
won't
work. You've tried a million times.
Just
Stephen James.
Yeah. So no, there's a good chance it's.
So either Levi's first or he's last.
Yeah. So
he's Ricky Bobby in this.
First and last.
What is the tiebreaker? Can I ask what is the tiebreaker?
Well, then here's the good news for you. The tiebreaker is you. I'll have you draw names for the tiebreaker.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm going to let you, because look, I know you're taking time out of your day. You're going to be able to do the tiebreaker. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then that means you better hope that you're at least tied. Because if you lose this thing, Pierre.
Yeah.
We will be doing a segment from a porta potty. So find one close to your apartment.
It's funny that's the punishment this week because I went to a backyard wedding over the weekend and people were raving about the porta potty that was brought to the wedding. They're like, there's music when you walk in there. It smells great. So I'm going to need the name of that porta potty place if it comes down to me having to do that.
Just tell them we'll give them a free plug on a national podcast.
Dude, that's sold.
There
Absolutely.
we go. Like they're not getting any cash out of it, but
notoriety, baby.
Yeah.
Pays for itself.
Minnesota Nice, Porta Johns. That's what they're probably called.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. Pierre, thank you so much once again. We'll talk to you next week. I hope for your sake. Well, I actually don't because, as much as
how you feel.
And here's the deal. As much as I said I want them to be good earlier, and that's true, as you know, my father was an alum of Texas A&M, so I can't in good conscience hope for them to find their good this week. So
no hard feelings.
I have too many Aggie family to just go, hey, I hope they, there's only one team I root against A&M for, and that is Florida State, and they don't play that often, so I don't have to worry about it.
No hard feelings, my friend. And as always, thanks for having me back. It's been a lot of fun. Love hanging with you guys.
All right. If you're in the Midwest and up in Minneapolis, watch Fox 9 because
please do.
That's the best. That's one of the best in the biz right there. And only having 3.5 minutes a night. No, you probably do more. You're a major market.
Something like that, 3.5 minutes. And but a reminder, we get things moving again this Saturday with the Gopher pregame show, 9 a.m. on Fox 9, getting you ready for the Gophers and Eastern Michigan. That's going to be a tough game for them, I think. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Pierre Newsham with us here on the Triple Option. I'm Paul Catalina. Thanks to Jack, Levi, and Garrett. We're back again on Monday, everybody. Have a great football weekend.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.